Hiya, it's Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, this one is a fun one today because bring any stamp, any outline stamp, any solid stamp, and you can make this work. Today I'm going to be using this stamp called the Fairy Flower stamp, and I love this one because I think it was just solid. It's big. You can either use just the head of it or you can use the whole stem. I love everything about this one. So I have used this in several videos already, but I love using stamps as much as I possibly can when I purchase one. So I'm going to find another good use for this stamp today. Now I have just a plain card base here. This one is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I'm going to pop this into a stamping platform with a sticky grid down. That way I don't have to use magnets or anything like that to keep my card base in place. And then I'm just going to pop my flower off to the side. Now you can either choose to have it coming in from the top, coming in from the bottom, coming in from the side. I mean, depending on what you pick, which stamp you pick, is where you're probably going to place it. But in a minute, you'll kind of pick up what I'm putting down and you'll see a little bit about where you need to place your stamp. Now, this first part here is just a rough stamp. I just did any ink. I happen to have the black one near me, and I'm stamping this on the front cover of my card base, so just the front of my normal card. Then I'm going to pick this up, and this is where I'm going to take my scissors. Now if you have a coordinating die, this makes life 1,000 times easier, but A, I don't think this one has a coordinating die, and B, I don't really buy coordinating dies. I prefer to fussy cut and spend my money elsewhere. I sometimes do buy them, but very, very, very rarely. Now, all you need to do is cut out around your image. Now, you can cut your image to pieces. We don't need it. We don't need the image at all, but I do want to keep it really nice because we are keeping the rest of the outside of the card. So you can see I cut the flower into pieces, and this is just so that I get the nicest sort of edge around my card base. So you can cut this into as many pieces as you need to make it as neat as you can. As I said, if you have coordinating dies, then this will be made 1,000 times easier. So you pick. If you have coordinating dies, you might like to use that for the stamp that you choose. Otherwise, you can use bold, solid images. You can use outline images and then just color them in. But for me, I am now going to use my finger daubers, and these finger daubers have Distress Oxide on them. Now we are stamping through the front cover into the middle of the card. So obviously this is now going to appear from the front of the card, but when you open the card, it is also going to appear on the inside. So this is kind of almost like a 2-for-1 sort of situation. And what I really love to do, mainly because I like to say lazy, but really I'm just efficient with my time, instead of having to get out all the individual ink pads, I just use the residual ink that's left on my finger daubers. And this is kind of a game of risk because you never know how much ink there is going to be left on there. So I have started off by doing the stem with some greens, and then I take in my finger daubers and add in some sort of reddy, darker reddish colors into the center of the flower. I did the actual center of the flower in I think I used wild honey on that one last, so kind of an orangey yellowish sort of thing. And then I'm moving back out into the yellows, which I think is more like mustard seed, and maybe some spiced marmalade, oranges, yellows, and that is towards the outside petals of the flower. Now this card is a super quick, super easy, you can use it with such a wide range of stamps. This is one of my really fun go-to cards. You can just cut out whatever you want around the image, and then you have this left here. So this is absolutely stunning. Gorgeous image from the front, open it up, gorgeous image on the inside. Now this stamp set here, because we need to finish off this gorgeous card, is from Pinkfresh Studios. This is the Happy Birthday sentiments. I bet you never would have guessed. And this is just a whole range of sentiments and sub-sentiments. And Happy Birthday stamps is one of the ones that I used most often. It's probably what I most often create for cards, and so it is good to have a very wide range when it comes to the stamps with those. So that's why I kind of like these stamp sets. It's a big stamp set. I think it's a 6 by 8 inches, and it has a whole lot of stamps that you can change up. Today I'm keeping it really plain and simple, just a very gorgeous happy birthday stamp. I did actually cut the stamp apart, not today, I'd already cut it apart previously, and that means I can stack it however I want it to go, and I can put it back together if necessary later on. Then I'm very simply going to take a fine liner pen, and this is one of my favorite ways to finish off a card, just keeping it really plain and simple. So I'm really going to do some squiggly, on purposefully not straight lines with my fine liner pen. I prefer to do at least 2 lines, and I'm just going to go right across the bottom. If you muck up somewhere, just add another line. That's my favorite thing about it. I don't try and do them straight because then they don't look straight, and if you do them wiggly and do a couple of them, I think it just adds a really nice touch. In a minute, I think you'll agree that this card comes together so quickly. And it really just is a very simple squiggly line border. You could do lots of different borders on this. In fact, I have a whole video in mind. I'm not sure if that's something you're after, but sort of quick ways to finish off those cards when you already have a gorgeous focal point and you just want to finish them off with some simple bits and pieces like this. So I'm going to do all of the black lines that I kind of can, and then even when I take out that piece of paper, you see that the card is starting to come together. Now I like to do a few of extra little sort of stitching squiggles. I don't know what you call them. I just add them in because I think they look nice. I add some dots here, there, and everywhere. Just a few, 1 or 2 on each side is plenty. And then at this point, of course, you could absolutely leave the card, but I did decide that something a little bit sparkly or shiny might be nice on the card. This was sort of looking pretty rustic, and there was a little bit too much white space up the top for my liking, so I bought in a few enamel dots, and so I was just trying to pick between a couple. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go for the actual sparkly ones, the ones that were glittery, like these ones. There's some pinks, 2 different pinks and an orange one in this pack, or there is the more kind of see-through, they kind of look like cloudy, transparent sort of ones that I bought in here, and I just wasn't sure if I wanted to use those, but I end up using those and go with the light pinky kind of orangey ones, and then just even a few of these finishes off the card really nicely, just a couple, and then I'm going to put one down the very bottom, and then that is going to be finished for this gorgeous card. I absolutely love how this one turned out. If you were inspired by this card or inspired by any of my videos, then I would love to see your creations and your makes. If you'd like to share them with me, the easiest place to do that is over on our Facebook page. It is called Come Crafting with Natasha. You can either find the links down below or just search it on Facebook and it will pop up. And you can join our massive, beautiful, big, supportive community. I'm so grateful for that community, and it is so nice to see everybody's creations over there, so come and join us there. I will leave links to the supplies used in the video. I will leave them down below, although I'm sure you have everything on hand to make this one. I will also leave links to the Buy Me a Coffee if you'd like to support my page and the free videos that I produce. Other than that, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being here and making it to the end, and I can't wait to see you on the next video. Thanks, bye!